How do that's a champion? What is a champion? I have a little words here for you on that. A champion is a person who has defeated all opposition. And in competition and series of competition, a person who fights for and defends anyone or a cause, a champion of oppression, a fighter or a warrior. Today we will look at some of the champions that we can learn from, important lessons from, and take from our life and the faith to live by. A little nervous. We'll go to Abraham first, which is a believer and a visionary. The story of Abraham is a narrative of faith and obedience, overcoming many shortfalls and imperfections. Abraham's greatness as a believer and visionary is to be found in his continuous return to faith and God's plan and promise. After many wandering from the path, Abraham's leadership that will propel his family to become a great nation. It was forward-looking with great vision and faith and patience. In Genesis 11:25 and in Romans 4, and then in Hebrews 11. And then again in Genesis 12, 1 through 4, you can also see in Hebrews 11 and 8, he followed the call of God. Then again in Genesis 15 and 6, he believed the promise of God. In Genesis 22 and 1 and 2, he endured the hardness of tests. In Hebrews 10 and 11 and 10, excuse me, he was a visionary that saw what God was doing. And in James 2:21 and 22, he lived by faith. And in James 2 and 23, he was called a God's friend. I have one or so here. And Joshua was a commander and an encourager, a defender of Joseph's son of Ephraim. Joshua was appointed Moses' commander in leading the Israelites into the promised land. As a leader, Joshua exhibited great encouragement and counsel against the seemingly overwhelming odds. His strength through faith led the Israelites into fulfillment of God's covenant. And again, we look at Numbers 14, 6 through 9 and 30. He said to them, come on, we can do this. And in Joshua 1, 6 through 11, he told them again, come on, move out. Then in Joshua 24, 14 and 15, he told them, come on, take your stand. And then we don't want to leave the ladies also. I went to one for the ladies on this one here. And I went to Esther. Okay? And he said, Esther, a Jewish woman of modest birth, who would become queen of Persia. Esther is most celebrated for saving the Jews, threatening under her command's plan to annihilate them. She rose to the challenge of leadership by exhibiting great and selfless courage at a time of great peril to her people. She said, if I perish, I perish, were her word as she strove to save others. In Esther 2 and 7, she began in a humble circumstance. In Esther 3 and 6, she lived among despised people. In Esther 4 and 14, she rose to the challenge of leadership. In Esther 4 and 16, she acted on believing courage. And in Esther 9, 28 and 29, she followed through to completion.
Yes, sir.
One more I'm going to call it today. I have quite a few more, but I don't want to prolong the time. I appreciate your patience. I have one of Nehemiah, a manager, a great builder, a manager. Nehemiah was among leaders returning to Jerusalem after exile upon hearing of the city's ruin to build a wall of the city. Despite opposition, Nehemiah successfully delegated responsibilities involved in the restoration of the wall.
Yes, sir.
In Nehemiah 2:11 through 20, he called them to build. In Nehemiah 6, 1 through 4, he resisted opposition. In Nehemiah 6, 15 and 16, he completed the task.
Yes, sir.
A couple more John the Baptist, but I'm going to cut it off here. Pastor, I'll give you a copy of it. Thank you for your time.